Hi everyone, this is Tuplex and welcome back to our tutorial series. Now I did my homework. As you can see, I've added the rest of the lines for the iron smelting. These are all with red belts and steel furnaces. There are 4 of them. You'll notice here on the input, I've left the yellow splitter for the coal. That's okay because we don't need to get coal in nearly as quickly as we need to get the ore in. So you can leave that yellow when you upgrade to red belts if you like. And then on the ore side, we have to upgrade everything to red. So all the belts are upgraded to red. The splitters, underground belts, everything has to be upgraded in the path. Otherwise, if you have even just one section of yellow belt somewhere, or one splitter or one underground belt that's still yellow, it's going to slow down the whole thing to the speed of a yellow. So it's important that you get every little bit upgraded. You'll also notice here on the ends, I've put some underground belts underneath the inserters. Normally, the inserters coming out of furnaces will not be able to completely fill a belt because it'll get to a point where the spaces in between plates are not big enough for it to insert something new, especially as you get towards the end of the line where the belt is almost full. So by doing this, this allows the belt to get fully packed like you see here. I think this is kind of a bug in the game actually, but it treats the underground belt almost like a box or a chest. So inserting onto either end of an underground belt allows it to ignore the spacing in between plates. So as long as there's room for one more plate, it'll allow it to get inserted. So this just helps to pack the belt completely full. And that's why I've done that on all of those iron lines. Now I've also, if we follow this back, I've also tapped into some more iron patches. This is the one that we started with, and I've added this one over here. I'm using some 3-to-1 balancers just to get everything down to one belt. This patch here has 57 mining drills, which is, it's a little bit more than you need to completely fill a red belt. So I could really have 2 red belts coming out of here. But a couple of these drills are gonna mine themselves out fairly soon. You know, like this one here on the corner, for example. So after a few of these mine themselves out, then we'll be okay with one belt. All right, so then I bring all these up here. I run these into a 4-to-3 balancer. This is obviously different than the 4-to-4 that we've seen before. You can find blueprints. Actually, what I have is a blueprint book. I'll try to remember to put a link to where I got these, but I have a blueprint book with red belt balancers of all different sizes, and I highly recommend that you look for these and put them in your blueprint library. They're very useful. I've got one for yellow belts, one for red belts, and one for blue belts. So pretty much any combination of input and output lanes, there's a balancer for it. So this takes these 4 belts, gets them down into 3, and then up here I add in the 4th one, and then here I have a 4-to-4. So I've got 4 fully balanced belts coming into iron. And as you can see now, oh no, you can't see. Let's get back up there and throw down a radar. We're doing pretty good with iron now because we've got all those belts available. I'm going to put down another radar. If you look in the mini-map, when you're holding a radar, you can see where the coverage is going to be. So I'll put this one right here. That should give me enough coverage of the whole base now. Okay. So in addition to upgrading iron, I've also upgraded all of the iron bus to red belts, as you can see. So again, all the splitters and everything are now red. The belts coming out, I left as yellow. This one might need to be upgraded to red, I'm not sure, but I'll leave it as yellow for now and we can come back and fix it later. And if you've never done belt upgrades before, it's quite easy. You just select your red belt, for example, and you can just place it down right over top of the yellow ones. And it'll pick up the yellow belts that were there and simultaneously place down the new red ones. Okay, so I started upgrading the copper as well. But for now, all of iron is upgraded. Everything else will have to be upgraded too, especially green circuits. Steel, I think we can probably leave as yellow, and stone as well. And then I've also added a belt for coal. There is a coal patch here, so I put down, actually I need to move these. I put down a couple mining drills just to add on to the coal belt. And I'm going to move these over by one, so that way these other belts, as they come down the bus, I can just jump over these mining drills and keep going on my way. So these are going to add coal onto the bus, or onto this belt. That won't be enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up coal from the end of this stone brick smelting line. So you can see we've got stone and coal on the same belt. And what I want to do is just take the coal off of this line as it comes through and add it over here. And there's a little trick that you can do to do that. Let me make some more undergrounds. Basically, you take, if you look at an underground belt, you can side load onto the end of an underground belt, but you can only side load on the belt side of it, not the hood that goes into the ground, right? So if I have a belt here, I can side load the bottom part of the belt, but not the top part of the belt. And that's a way that you can take a shared belt and split off one item that's on it. So what I'm going to do here, I want the other side, and I want it going this way. So I'm just going to put an underground like that, and then I'll remove this one on the bottom. And that gives me an underground belt, or a belt of just coal. I'm going to move this over by one. And then I'm going to do the same up here. Well, actually, I can do it the way that I had it originally. Okay, and then I can combine those onto that belt. All right, so that coal will come up here, and then whatever doesn't get used for the stone bricks will continue on down the line and join the main bus here. Okay, so on to new business. Let's get some more research going. Circuit network is done. When I'm doing the homework between episodes, I'm not doing any research because I want you to be able to see what I'm choosing for my research. So stack inserters are a good one to have. That'll give us a stack inserter that can move multiple items at once. And once we get to inserter bonus 2, that also allows every other inserter in the game to pick up 2 items instead of 1. So that's a pretty good one to have. But I do want to do sulfur first. So let's do sulfur. Now, the next thing I want to do in this game, since we now have red and green science, is I want to start getting ready for Science Pack 3s. Now, Science Pack 3s, as you'll see, require a red circuit as an ingredient, and red circuits require plastic to make, and to make plastic you need petroleum. All right, so before we can get to blue science, we need to get some oil processing going. So if we look at our map, Unfortunately, on this map, we don't have any huge quantities of oil close by. That could cause us an issue later. We do have a patch here that's 508%. There's some over here. There's a couple here. I didn't really check that when we made the map. I might have selected a different map that had more oil to begin with. But for now, we're going to go down here to the south of our copper. So let's head down there and get some oil processing set up. I do need some chemical plants. Not right away, but we're going to need those fairly soon. We're going to need 8 of those. I'm going to need an offshore pump. Oh, and I need lots of pipe, which I didn't craft in advance. So let me just fill up on iron, and we'll get some underground pipe going. Okay. And actually, I'll postpone these chemical plants until I get the pipe made. All right, so our oil is down here. Hopefully it's not completely covered by trees, but it looks like it might be. Yep, it's over here. Okay, I did make a few grenades. Grenades are a good way to clear trees quickly. And if we pick up our pump jacks, that'll reveal the location of the oil patches. There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just have them face north. And I made a few storage tanks as well. And what I want to do is have these pump into a storage tank. All right. Actually, that can be regular pipe. All right, sulfur's finished. Let's research batteries. But you know what? Let's go ahead and do stack inserters now. Let's get that done. All right. I'm going to stop making underground pipes. Whoops. Because I need some regular pipe. So I can get this connected. There we go. All right, and then let's see. All right, I've made a mess here. Let's put down a chest. There we go. All right, I'm going to throw some of my iron plates in there so I can pick up all of this stuff. All right, and then I can start to make more of these. Okay, so underground pipe will come up there, and then my straight pipe got used up by these undergrounds. Sorry about this. It's a little awkward. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to leave that there for now. And then we'll need power for the pump jacks, obviously. So we'll put down a couple of power poles. We'll put in a light. And I'll also make a radar so that we can see what's going on down here. Okay. And then from there, we will put a big power pole. First, let me start crafting some more pipes. And we'll set that up automatically here shortly. Clear some trees so we have room for our power poles. All right. All right, so now we can see that we're getting oil out of the ground and it's going into the storage tank. All right, which is great. Now, we should place a pump on the output of our storage tank. To make a pump, we need an engine. So let's craft an engine. Engines can only be made in an assembly machine. You can't make those yourself by hand. So I'm just going to put in one steel plate. I'm going to need a gear. Oh, okay, I do have some gears. And I need a pipe as well. All right, let's do stack bonus 1. Do I have any straight pipe? Nope. Okay, so that'll give us an engine and then we can make a pump, and so we'll set up the output of this storage tank to a pump, and then we'll pipe the crude oil up closer to the main base. I think we'll probably set up our oil refining around here, south of the stone brick. Let's move that symbol to the right place. There we go. Yeah, so we'll put oil refining there. All right, so now we have an engine, and with that we can make a pump. All right, now pumps are directional, so you have to make sure the arrow's going the right way, and then give it some electricity. Okay, and now we're going to run some underground pipe through these trees, which is kind of a pain. But we'll get there. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but once you get the first, I think the first 2 or 3 damage upgrades on grenades, you can one-shot trees with your grenades. So if I'm going to be doing a longer game, I would probably invest in the grenade damage upgrades, just so you can take out trees quickly and easily with a stack of grenades. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now, and we can start setting up our oil refineries. Let me see if I can make some more grenades. I can. I'll make one more that'll allow me to take out a clump of trees. All right, so we're going to set up 8 refineries. Now, why 8? Well, we do 8 because once we get to advanced oil processing, a good ratio for turning crude oil as well as the light and heavy oil into petroleum is to have 8 refineries, 1 heavy oil cracking, and 7 light oil cracking. So I always set up in ratios like that. So that's why we're starting with 8. I'll explain that in more detail as we go through it. And 8 might not be quite enough, actually. We'll have to wait and see. The calculations are telling me we need something like 8.5 refineries. So we might have to add another one at some point. But we'll watch and see how it does with 8 and go from there. All right, so I just put a power pole in between each one. You do need a space between every one. And then I throw down a light. Okay, so when you open this up, right now we only have one recipe to select. That's basic oil processing. And you can see that that takes 100 crude oil and it turns it into 30 heavy oil, 30 light oil, and 40 petroleum. And that takes 5 seconds. The crafting speed for a refinery is 1. So that 5 seconds is a true 5 seconds. So let's go ahead and copy that recipe down the line. All right. And then if you look closer at the refinery, you can see that our inputs down here, we have 2 crude oil inputs, and then we have heavy light oil and petroleum on the outputs. So our next task is to get all this hooked up with our pipes. And I'm going to go ahead and craft a few more pipes. Now, the way that I normally do this, all right, and then we're going to get inserter capacity 2, and then we'll stop there for now. Now to begin with, we only need 1 input for oil. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, and I think it's the right side that I want. Yeah, we're going to put a single pipe on the right side crude oil. And picking that side is important because later on when we get advanced oil processing, that's going to require water as another input, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be this one on the left that becomes water. So that's why we're only going to plug into this one for now, so that we don't have to rearrange the plumbing later. All right, and then I'm going to use an underground pipe. I'm going to connect to the side, just like this, all the way down the line. And this will allow us to just have a single oil connection coming in here, and it will feed all of the refineries. Okay, we can pick that up. And then we put the straight pipe there on the corners. All right. And now they're running. And you can see we're making heavy oil, light oil, and petroleum. Now this is going to stop fairly soon because they're going to get full and they won't be able to make any more. So the next thing that we have to do is manage the outputs. And we do that in much the same way. In this case, let's put 1 pipe on the heavy, 2 on the light, and 3 on the petroleum. And we're going to do that all the way down. And the reason for that will become clear in just a moment. I need more pipe. And I really should have set up pipe in the make everything area before we started to do this, but it slipped my mind. So I'll do that before we get too much further through the game. Okay, now like we did down there, we're going to connect all these outputs with underground pipes. Be very careful not to mix these, because once you get fluids mixed, pretty much the only way to unmix it is either to empty it all out with a pipe or pick it up. Okay, so I'm going to connect all the lights together. Like so. And then we're going to connect all the heavy together. Or, I'm sorry, the petroleum. So this way all the inputs and outputs of all these refineries are linked. And actually I don't want that to go out there, so I'm going to pick that up. Okay. And then from there, what we'll do is from the heavy, I'll take an underground pipe, I'll bring that all the way up, and I'm going to place a storage tank. So that's going to start collecting the heavy. Clear out a few trees here. Actually, I got a couple grenades left. Let's make use of those. Okay, and then we'll take our light oil. I'll put that there. And then the petroleum, I'll put right there. That's not quite lined up properly. There we go. Okay, so light oil goes there, and petroleum goes there. Okay, and so now that our outputs have a place to go into these storage tanks, this will be able to run continuously until one of the tanks gets full. In this case, it's the petroleum tank that's going to fill up first, because remember, we make 40 petroleum and 30 of the other two oil types. Now, once we get to advanced oil processing, we'll be able to take these other two oil types and convert them into petroleum. We're also going to be making lubricant from the heavy oil, because that's something that we need for engines, electric engines. So we can start to do that right now, actually. Where are my chemical plants? I guess I didn't make those. Let me craft one right now. And then I'm going to make some more pipe. And I'll make another storage tank. Okay. So what we're going to do here is... Well, let me leave a little bit of space here. Okay, that's done. Let's do electric engines next. We do need those later on, and those take engine circuits and lubricant. So that's why we need lubricant, so we can make electric engines. Electric engines are a component for one of the other science packs, I believe. Yeah, the production science packs. So that's why we need those. So let's go ahead and research that. So I'll just leave a space of 3 here. Now here you can see on these chemical plants, we have a lot more choices of recipes. We can make solid fuel from oil or petroleum. We can make sulfuric acid. We can make sulfur plastic, which is what we're after here in the near term. And we can make lubricant. So this one is going to be lubricant. Let's go ahead and select that recipe. We'll just connect that with a pipe. We need to get this some power. So let's bring that up there. I'll use one of the cheap power poles. Okay, and that will start to make lubricant, and then we will put that into a tank. All right, and then eventually we're going to run the lubricant up here to the bus, and we'll have a line of lubricant. We'll have sulfuric acid and petroleum running along the bus. Okay, but we're already out of time, so before we go, let's just set up some pipe production up in our supplies area. I think you can probably figure out how that works, but I'll show you how I do it, just in case. And I think I didn't show you the rest of this either. I did continue working on this in between episodes. I basically added assembly machines. So I've got a stack of those. And here I'm making assembly machine 1s and then moving those over here to make assembly machine 2s. I added a combined copper and steel belt, which we're using to make power poles, since those ingredients are copper and steel. And then we're also making mining drills, since we'll be using a lot of those. All right, let's research batteries next. Okay, so let's make some pipes. I'll make it over on this side because I'm going to try to avoid covering up too much of this copper. I think I'm going to want to make use of that in a little while. All right, so what we're going to do is put 2 of those. I think we can put our splitter right here. And we'll go ahead and put 2 chests. So this one we can make regular pipe, and this one we can make underground pipe. And I think that'll be good. That has to be turned around. Let's rotate that. If you push the R key, that'll rotate an object, right? Like so. All right, and then that output will go there. All right, so we'll limit that to a stack of 2, and we'll limit this to a stack of 2. Now this is going to take a while because we've got to make all these pipes first. And these pipes are going to get sucked up making the undergrounds. Those take 10 pipes each, so it'll take a while. Once this fills up with underground pipes, then this will start to fill up with the regular pipes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and let that run for a while. And when we come back for the next episode, we should have plenty of pipe available. At that point, we can take advantage of our new refining setup to start producing plastic, and then we can get into red circuits. So I will see you then. Thanks again for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.